how to adapt in a new country as an immigrant nurse. The important topic of emigrate as a nurse. Today we are with Lorenzo Pilastri. Hi Lorenzo,
Hi, hi.
who is a life coach and an immigrant nurse. So today we're gonna see different topic, the difficult and of course the approach for resolve this problem.
Right.
There we go. Hi Lorenzo, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you very much. So please introduce yourself so we can understand why you're here with us talking about this important topic. Thank
Right.
you.
That first, I would like to thank you for being here, for inviting me, because it's a pleasure. And I think that what you're doing with your channel is quite a nice thing for the world of nursing, and it's gonna enrich what the world of nursing is gonna be. So I wish you the very good luck for what this is today and what is gonna be in the future.
Oh, thank you, Lorenzo. Thank you very much.
That's okay. I really believe you're doing great things.
Thank you.
And regarding me, I think I can say that I am many things depending on the period of my life. I'm 29. I'm currently living in Madrid. If I have to define myself as the job role I have at the moment, I would say I'm a digital marketer. I'm currently studying as a yoga professor, but this is my life in the last 1 year and a half. The previous years, from 2014, for 5 years, I've lived in London and I've worked as a nurse. During my years of nursing, I felt a frustration that was inside of me, and I was seeing in my job. And it was like I was feeling that I was giving 110% of my energy, of everything I was doing. So everything was so intense, and I was in return receiving so little from my colleagues, from the patients, from the institution, from the society. And that got me thinking and taking an approach where I don't like complaining. I hate complaining. I think it's just a waste of time. What I've started doing is thinking of active solutions. So I asked myself, what can I do? What is my part in this process? And I saw that the key of everything was in the relationship in between my colleagues. When I was working, I saw that a day would go in one direction or another, depending on whatever, regardless of what would happen that day. If you had 3 emergency in a day, the colleagues I had next to me and all the team would make the difference. And the days that you lack that type of help, it changes everything in a negative way. So I start to think in active solutions, and I develop a method, which I'm going to talk later on, to help the relationships in between colleagues. This method got a bit of attention from my trust. I managed to present this project to one of the nursing director, but they didn't support me as much as I wanted, because they wanted me to develop it on my own. And what happened is, instead of giving up, because developing on my own for a trust, for my word, was just impossible to do honestly on my own. Yes. And what I've done is I said, what's the best way for me to do it and to help maybe in a small scale? So maybe one-to-one nursing, maybe help student nurses, maybe help small groups of nurses. I said, let me take my passion, which is positive psychology, which is the will to help the others, which is inside of nursing in general. And I said, let me take the road of life coaching. Let me start the project on my own. And that's when I decided to take the course. I'm a certified life coach, and everything started. And what I felt was there was a need for me to express myself and to go towards that direction. What is life coaching? Life coaching in general is a horizontal, I would say, is an horizontal relationship. For example, when you are in school, your professor is on top of you and is teaching the student what to do, and that is a vertical one. In life coaching, you are the same height, the same level, and you try to help the person in front of you to achieve objectives, to get the goals you want to achieve. And it's my role to find in yourself the potential and to solve the problems that is stopping you from achieve that goals. And from there I started. And then after 5 years as a nurse, I felt the need for change. I felt the need of transformation. And I'm addicted to learning. Honestly, I think there's nothing that makes me happier than learning and develop and grow in my life. And I also follow another passion, which was digital marketing, the communication, and that's what I'm doing today. And that's the little about me.
Thank you very much, Lorenzo. So you are the right person here to help us to understand this difficult topic.
Hopefully.
Thank you very much. So my question, so we're gonna talk about in the specific of about this big topic is from a point of view of a migrant nurse, as you are, as a life coach, as you are, which are the difficulty and then the solution to adapt a new life as a migrant nurse, of course, in another country. Thank you very much.
That's all right. It's when I think about the experience that I had, and many others probably watching this video had, is that when you go to a different country, everything is different. But what I would like to highlight in this first appointment with you is that before finding a balance in your nursing life and whatever job you're gonna do abroad, because that could be worth it for anything.
Yes,
you need to first find a balance in your own personal life, because everything has to be balanced. So what I'm gonna touch today is first find a balance with yourself. What are the problems when you actually go abroad and the things that you're gonna face? The first topic, the first point is how to integrate in a new culture. When I make the examples of Italians, we have quite a structured way of thinking. The sentence that I would resume everything would be like, that's how the thing should be done. And I think we should in first instance, forget how the things should be done when you move to another country. The approach of open mind, it's very important. And I'm not saying that you need to adapt and you need to take everything 100% of what culture is there, but at least you need to give it a chance. So my advice here, the first advice that I give is to know about the culture of the country where you're going to live. Because if you don't know about the culture, maybe there are gonna be some aspects that you don't like, that you're gonna encounter during the journey, but maybe there are some aspects that are very nice, and why not give him the chance to do it?
May I stop you just for
Of
a
course.
second, please? Thank you. And I already made a video about how to choose the right country to migrate, to move into, because as I say in previous my videos in Nursing Move, if you didn't, please subscribe to this channel. Yes, it's very important understand before go, because moving abroad is a very difficult process. So we have to do something before planning everything, and then when we move abroad, we're still learning, we're still taking information, and if we move in the wrong country, we just waste money and time that are very precious. So thank you. Sorry.
That's okay. I totally agree with you. You said that you should plan, that you should know about it, and it's what you should do, because it's gonna be a different reality, and on top of a different reality is gonna be the difficulty of a new job, the difficulty of a language barrier, which is the second point I'm gonna touch. The language barrier, it is something that I think is very connected to the culture. When I was in the UK, when I was learning about the language, I've learned also that you learn about the culture through the language you're speaking, and it's a very nice thing to live, and it's a very nice process. When I went to the UK, my English was really bad, and honestly, I have to say that you're only gonna learn a language while you're there. But the preparation makes it all, and I had to work before working as a nurse. I had to make coffee in the bar, and I had to get up at 5 in the morning to go and make some coffees for a very low pay. But it's what I've done. This was probably my mistake. I didn't prepare for the right language. So my second advice is, it is worth it to spend some time learning the language. What I was doing as a nurse is, when I was working, I would take notes of the things that I wouldn't know, and when I would come back home, no matter how tired I was, I would see what are the terms that I didn't know, because there's gonna be terms that you don't know. What are the way of doing things? How is it structured? Because these are others problems that you're gonna encounter when you are abroad, when you are in a new reality. So how is the structure? How does it work? What are the words that I don't know? Why didn't I know that? What is the best source to understand that? So as you said, planning, research before doing it. And the third point, which is something that sometimes, for example, I neglect in the beginning, but it's super important, is that sometimes you go abroad and you are alone. So you don't have the support of the people around you when you are in your country, for example. And the importance of investing time in building quality relationships, that type of time is going to be worth all the stay that you're going to be in another country. So don't close yourself in a room watching series, which is absolutely fine, but try and invest time, maybe in the beginning with your colleagues, maybe with whoever you meet, that maybe having a beer outside or a coffee. Invest time in building good relationships, because those relationships are forever. I have the example now, a friend of mine that I met in London, actually, in my nursing home that I worked my first job as a nurse in London, is I'm gonna be the first man of my very best friend that I met in London.
Congratulations.
It's amazing. I mean, it's fantastic that I went to another country. I was totally foreigner. I was out of everything, and I managed to meet a guy that yeah, it changed my life because it's one of my best friends. So
Yes,
it is so important to be in a social group, because let's be honest, we are social animals, and
yes,
we are, and we have to be, and the group success, remember, it's always a better achievement than an individual success,
yeah, absolutely.
and it's gonna give you so much more satisfaction, something like that, in a group than when you are individual. So the third thing is, when you are alone, try and invest time in building good social relationships. I'm gonna go deep in my third topic on how to build better relationships. Okay.
And it's very important because socializing meets other people is important for our well-being, health and well-being. So we must do for ourselves. We maybe in the beginning we must push a little bit ourselves because we find ourselves alone. Everything around us that is different. Maybe at the beginning we think we're not able to manage, but if we push a little bit ourselves, we discover us able to go far ways.
It's absolutely true. The other point, the fourth point, is, of course, for example, I come from a poor family, so I knew that going abroad, if something would go wrong, I wouldn't have the economical support of my parents, which is absolutely fine. Like me, there's plenty of people. So what you're gonna learn?
Well.
Yes. So that's the reality. Otherwise, probably we wouldn't move country if that was one of the reasons. So you need to learn also to manage your economy. Think about where the money are coming in, when they're coming out. Think twice before spending, because that's a new reality. So economical problems, you have to count probably in the beginning. And then I go to two big topic of when you go abroad, what you should do. And the very two big topic is physical health and then mental health. When I say mental health, of course, it's not a disease. I'm not talking about disease. It's how to take care of your mental health. I'm gonna start from the physical health. The physical health, I'm not gonna spend as much time as the mental health, because in general, we know much more about what it is to be healthy physically. We go to the gym. We know what is a gym. And
let's say lots of people talk about physical health and less people talk about mental health. I totally agree with you. Please continue.
It's clear that the society is built to work on physical appearance. It's not a critic. It's fine. We know, because there are gyms for the body, but there are no gyms for the mind. And it's very important to understand that very basic part of your life is there, and you need to take care of it. And so regarding the physical health, I would say that 30 minutes of activity every day is what is recommended. And 30 minutes, I'm not saying you have to go to run. Do whatever you want. Okay, you can go to walk, which is the 10,000 steps per day that World Health Organization, for example, tells you to do.
Recommend, yes.
Is the recommendation that they do, and I find it very nice, especially if you are abroad. It's an opportunity to go and walk through new roads and to discover your district, and it's a very simple and nice thing to do. Okay, that can be done. Don't tell me that cannot be done 30 minutes a day of walking, unless of course you have physical problems that doesn't. But we have Paralympics athletes that can teach you that there's no boundaries in this world, right? And these are some inspirations. Then you should have a balanced diet. But then we know there's so many diets. That it should be a balanced diet, because what we eat, and it's true. I think whoever went through a diet feels the difference that has on our body, on our mood, on our day-to-day, and what makes the difference a nice balanced diet. We have the resources to know what a balanced diet is. We are not in the 1920s where we don't have internet. When we don't have a book in the library, we can go to any library, we can go to Google and find good sources, because that is important to find good sources. Once you find good sources, then you can find the balanced diet. You can find it anywhere, right? And one sport that I advise for the physical and for the mental health, I would say, is yoga. I'm gonna be a professor because I felt myself the change I went through when I was in London. Actually, I started, and it's something. Yoga is a sport that gives you physical and mind balance, and it's something that not everything can give you. So I advise yoga, and we can maybe talk about another day about yoga and the benefit of yoga. And then let's go to what is the mental health. And during my studies, during these years, what I loved, what was one of my passion was the branch of positive psychology that talks about how to achieve happiness. What are the ways to have a more happy life? I'm not talking about you have to be happy all the time, because I truly believe that you need to have up and downs. You need to stay with your up, and you need to stay with your downs, because the downs actually are the ones that actually teach you a lot about life.
Yes,
when you're in the up, everything is nice. When you're in the down, learn to stay with the down. But there are some tips and helps that can help you to achieve more happiness and maybe success in life. And I'm not talking about making millions of money. I'm not talking about that. Success in life can be having a balanced life and a happy life during your day-to-day. So I am a fan of Sean Acher, which is a researcher that writes all about happiness, all about positive psychology. And the definition that gives about happiness is the joy of striving towards your potential. And that's what a life coach does. It actually helps you through this line of achieving and fulfilling your potential so that you can achieve whatever you want. And in this case, happiness. There are some tips in this case to achieve. There are some techniques that you can put in action when you are happy, when you're trying to be happy. For example, meditating 5 minutes a day. Let me spend 1 minute about what meditation is, because sometimes we get scared of the fact that meditation is I want to leave my mind in blank. I have to free the mind completely. I see it as completely opposite. You actually, in those 5 minutes per day that you should try and meditate, is 5 minutes to stay with yourself in the present, observing what the mind is seeing. So it's kind of sitting down next to, imagine your mind as being a road and the cars are your thoughts. And while you meditate, it's like you should sit down next to the road and see your thoughts going in, but you shouldn't go inside the car. So you shouldn't be taken away. Exactly. What it does make those 5 minutes of meditation per day, it makes you present. And when you are present, your attention goes to what is present. Your mind is not in the past. Your mind is not in the future. Your mind is learning to be there at the moment where you are. And when you learn to do that, you appreciate much more life, because the small things are the one that makes a difference. There's not gonna be anything to strive for ever, because sometimes you just fixated on things. But just staying those 5 minutes with you, it is so powerful. And one of the techniques to meditate well is about concentrating on your breathing. You can do two things for beginners. is about counting the breathe in and breathe out. So you sit down in a comfortable position. You can sit down in a chair like I am now. Close your eyes gently and count your breathing, breathe out. 1, 2, 3, up to 10, and then you start again. That's all you have to do for 5 minutes. And
yes,
then
I use it to do, not every day. I know I'm not able to do because 3 kids, but I use it meditate quite a lot during the week, and this has helped me to focus on my day. Of course, watching my thought, but watching my thought as they are. I mean, without judgment, just to let them be.
yeah,
So I don't know, but after meditation, I really understand what they are, how I can manage them after. So this is important. I discovered meditation actually a long time ago, where I be for a holiday in Tibet. It was amazing, beautiful. And I used to practice sometime, but I didn't have really the mindset to do quite often as I do now. So I did through the year, but a couple of years ago, maybe less, in my trust, I cannot say the name because of the policy, but in my trust in London, big trust in London, one of my matron organized the mindful course for eco nurse, and I'm intensive care nurse. These help us a lot. This helped myself a lot because I was struggling with some healthy problem that give me problem at work, because when you work in intensive care with an healthy problem, it's not so easy to manage. But that helped me a lot because I could focus better. And so I was able to understand when I needed maybe a rest, or when I really needed the help of my colleagues, because you must be concentrated enough to understand these things as well, because you must help the patient, not unless you're gonna hurt him or her. So yes, Sina discover the mindful and the meditation technique properly. With my trust, I start to do it more often, and this helped me a lot as a mom as well, as a migrant person. So I can say this is a good thing to do. Sorry, just another thing I would like to say before you continue. Sorry. Lots of people think that meditation is a religious thing, or is a thing that just maybe silly person do it because they would just want to try something new, the new age thing.
Yes.
New thing. But it's not, because it's scientific proof that breathing and healthy, watch your brain is a neuroscience finally.
Yes.
So it's a best evidence that demonstrates this. I would like to say this again. I talk about this with Anna Charman, the phytotherapy that I have an interview before. You got the link here if you want to go and watch it. Sorry, I was thinking about now. Yes, mindful maybe is not for everybody. It's not easy to do every day. It's true, because I'm struggling to do every day. But if you start to doing, you're going to find the benefit. Maybe use different technique. But yeah, sorry. I want to say this, my experience. That for me was very important. Yes,
that's fantastic. I think that's a fantastic thing that they give these resources to nurses. I think we are one of the categories that they actually need that a lot. Everybody needs it, but in our job I think is fundamental. So that's fantastic that in the future we should invest more in these type of things, definitely. Regarding what you said, it is difficult to do it every day. Scientifically, they found out that to form an habit, you need 21 days. So I think the first challenge would be at least doing it for 20-30 days. I'm not saying in 21 days then you are at the top. But the challenge is actually try and do it for 20, 30 days. And they usually advise to do it next to something that you do every day, something like I go and brush my teeth before, I don't know, getting dressed. So what you should do is actually maybe after you brush your teeth, you know that you need to meditate. This is one of the examples that can help you, to form a habit. But it's very important to know that 21 days in comparison with one lifetime and in comparison with the benefit you can have from all these things that we are talking about, it could change your life. And that's something quite powerful to know. And another thing that helps you to be more happy in life is to focus on positive things in your life and how to do it. Before going to sleep, I would divide it in two things, in two ways. Okay, I'm gonna give two examples. If you are with somebody, what I do, for example, with my girlfriend, in the end of the day, before going to sleep, we tell each other 3 good things of the day.
Good, nice.
And if you are on your own, you should write them down. Okay, so you can take a diary and write them down. What is the benefit of doing that? Is that your brain thinking about all day? Okay, so it revises the entire day, and it does actually search for the good things of the day. So after 20 or 30 days that you're doing this, because it's nothing big really, because it can be, oh, today I've had that fantastic cake that made me so happy, which is absolutely fine. The brain starts to get the habit of seeing good things and positive things. And what happens in your daily life, you will have a change of perspective. From seeing the negative in the things, you will change and see the positive in the things. And think how much change in one's person's life when you can see the positive and you can see then the opportunity for your life, a better opportunity.
I never thinking about this way. You're right. You start to gonna searching through
Exactly.
the day, which is good.
It's a really simple.
Yes.
It's very simple, but again, it can change a lot. It can change a lot, and it's very powerful. Another funny, I find it quite funny rule is there are some research that have found that is called the rule of 20 seconds. So
Okay.
if you have something at your reach, which is 20 seconds away from you, then you're gonna be able to do it better if you think that is farther away from you. So, for example, I put the objective in my life to get up in the morning and go to run.
Okay.
What stops me more than anything, for example, is that I have to get up, get dressed, and go. But if I go to sleep with the things on and it's less than 20 seconds, I can go out to run. It's very funny. I find it very funny, but it makes you, even if you don't do it, it makes you think how short is the time to actually achieve the things. So my advice is put the things close to you. Do it, try and think about your environment and whatever is the habit you want to form to be better, make it available to you in a very short time. Don't make it difficult to get there.
Okay.
Right? And
put things in place to be able to do good thing quickly.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So
it's not fun, it's practical actually.
It's very practical, and it can change a lot in a way of achieving things that you want to do. Because let's be honest, when you manage to achieve things, you're much happier.
Yes, it's true.
You're much happier. You feel so fulfilled.
Yeah.
And I connect from this to celebrate your victories.
Of course.
Whatever you do in life, you need to celebrate it. Let's not always jump on the next one, because sometimes people who are very ambitious and they want to achieve many things, they don't stop in that present moment to achieve the victory, the success they have just done and achieved. And it's not right, because otherwise you always gonna work towards something that is never gonna make you happy. So celebrate your victories.
And at the same time, you're gonna lose the good thing that you got around you in the present. Yeah. It's true. Absolutely.
It seems stupid to highlight the fact that you should actually celebrate your victories, but it's not, because it's been seen, and I think everybody can relate to that. Once we achieve something, we want something more, which is fine. I mean, there's nothing against having something more, but do we stop celebrating that victory? That's the question you should make yourself. And another thing that you should do is to share what you learned, is to share, like I'm doing with you, like you gave me the opportunity to do it. It is so nice to share what it's like when you read a nice book and it changes your perspective about life and you want to give it to everybody. You want to pass it to everybody. I've done this so many times because it helped me so much sometimes that you want to share. And that gives you much more than when you have an individual victory.
Yes, it's true. And maybe you can not change the mind of other, but you can change this perspective that maybe other they didn't say just because they didn't have experience about. And maybe just sharing your victory, your experience, let them understand how to do, and maybe they can reach as well your same victory you've done. No, I absolutely agree. Yeah.
So these are some mini techniques to achieve more happiness during the day. Now, I would like to talk now on the other side of the coin, which is stress and burnout.
Yes.
The TED Talks are one of the most interesting things on the internet. I like it a lot. And I advise to watch one TED Talks from, I wrote it down, Kelly McGonigal, that it says how to transform stress in your ally. Okay. And she says something very, very impacting. And she says that people that feel stress as mortal, as something bad for their life, actually have more chances to die for it. Then in the opposite, people that think that stress is good because it makes you perform well, and there are some aspect of stress that actually helps you to perform well, actually achieve better results. And actually the stress when is felt like good. And this is very nice. I advise to look at it.
Okay, we can leave the link in the box below.
Yes,
just share the link and I will put in the link.
I will do that. Below. But let's talk about.
Yes, because the stress is a tool. So you must use it as it is, as a tool, not as a monster that forces you back.
It's about the perspective that you have about anything that's happening in your life. But what I want to talk about, which I think is going to be more important for this channel, is the burnout.
Yes,
the burnout, it is defined as when you have finished all your emotional resources and you don't know how you can face whatever is going to come next. So I honestly never went through a burnout. I had colleagues in nursing that have seen burnout, and you can see they're like all the time about to explode because they cannot take one thing more. It's just very harsh to see your colleagues that they got to that point. And sometimes it happens because we didn't have the resources to face what came in front of us, maybe on a personal level, maybe at work. And nursing, it is the reality that burnout is there. And burnout, it's something that we should take care with very with gloves is very important to recognize. And I think the first one to recognize is actually you as a nurse, because you are next to that person, and it's important to escalate, and it's important to face this and to make it a reality, because sometimes you feel ashamed also of that, of what's going on within yourself. So what are the solutions? I'm going to talk about what is it on a personal level, then on a social level, and then as organization. Unfortunately, we don't have much power on influence on what is the organizational structure and policies in place whenever you are at work. So our part, yeah, exactly. So we can only hope that the things in place are good enough.
Good enough for help us, especially now in this quite strange moment. This is perfect, the thing we must talk about. So this is the right time, I think, where everything in rust, I think, as usual.
I think it's clear that many of our colleagues will go through that, because the emotional engagement and all the energy that went through this period, I haven't lived it, but it must have been terrible. And I mean, it's clear that we're gonna have an increase of burnout. So having awareness, so any nurse that's gonna look at this now, please, sometimes if you are in that position, or if you have a colleague next to you, just don't turn the other way, just go towards that the colleague. When we talk about burnout, of course, there is a prevention, and there is something that you do afterwards. But what are you gonna do afterwards is more on the organization side, or whatever, if you need therapeutic help to overcome this problem. So as I'm not a professionist in that field, I'm not going to talk about that. But what I'm going to talk about is what is it, and the techniques to prevent it. I can say that many of the things to prevent is what I've been talking in these minutes with you. So to have probably some meditation, to achieve your victories, to work towards positivity, to see the world in a more positive way, and to work on your happiness, to celebrate your victories. All these things that helps having a balanced life, a balanced personal life, then can help you to face burnout in a nursing environment. So that is on a personal level. But burnout is not only on a personal level, it's also on a social level, because there is also a stigma around it. And what is important is that at the moment where that event as a burnout happens, you have built a social environment, strong relationships. We can be the family, or it can be your friends, your colleagues. They have been the anchor to what is going to save you, because it helps also in a social environment. And it's very important, again, to invest time in building social relationships. On an organization level, that's another story, because this is out of your control. But there are things that can be done. Of course, is like the promotion of teamwork, to vary and to change the amount of responsibility that one person has, because sometimes, because you are more senior, you always have the more responsibility, and you go in a loop. I understand sometimes it has to be like that, but you cannot always have the biggest weight on your shoulder, the biggest responsibility, because otherwise the resources we have are finite. We don't want finite resources when we have to face life, and especially nursing. So the organizational structure helps a lot. And what helps, what I would advise, is to see in the policy of whatever place you work, what are the policies in place for burnout, and what is gonna be if you go through that, and not making a stigma out of burnout.
Absolutely. I can say I think it's important all the time seeking for help if we feel not able to copy or manage certain things. Lorenzo, thank you very much for being with us today in Nurses
Thank you
Room.
so much. Thank you for having me.
We see you again in another video. We talk another big topic. I remember to subscribe if you watch the video. If you like, please subscribe to this channel. See you in the next video. Lorenzo, thank you again for being
Thank
here.
you. Bye
See you
bye.
next. Bye. Thank you.